Hey everyone, Matron here bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary. This time, the final deciding game in the 7-game series between Liquid Tyler NonY spawning as the blue Protoss and seleCT spawning as the red Terran. This is a loser bracket round 8 series in the MLG DC tournament. These players had played in the winners bracket, and NonY won 2-1, sending seleCT to the losers bracket. So this best of 7 series, NonY began up 2-1. Only needed to win 2 out of the next 4 games, with seleCT needing to win 3 out of the 4. seleCT was able to even up the series at 2-2, and then NonY was able to win the next one to force a Game 6. And if NonY had won Game 6, it would have been all over, and he would have moved on to round 9 in the losers bracket to face Kiwikaki, but seleCT was able to come back, spotting the proxy robotics facility of NonY on Xel'Naga Caverns in Game 5 there. In Game 6, and he was able to force this Game 7, which will be played on Delta Quadrant. Again, these players are on cross-positioning, which seems to be a favorite theme in this series, both on Metalopolis and the Lost Temple games that these players have played. They've been cross-positioning, so not really sure if we'll see early expansions out of both players, as the expansions are not as well protected in the Delta Quadrant map as they are in the Metalopolis and in the Lost Temple map. So you're a little bit out in the open with this expansion. This expansion is protected, but you're going to have to take down these destructible rocks to get to it, so you can't fast expand like you might want to. Looks like both players now sending out scouts. We'll see what sort of builds they decide once their scouts figure out that they are cross position. Game opening pretty standard for both players. We did see NonY throw down the 10 gateway most of these games in the series, and he's been able to throw up a fast cybernetic score. Last game he went off 5 gates after his proxy robotics was found by seleCT. seleCT doing a great job of just searching for cheese all over the place. NonY did try to cheese him in that Game 6. That would have been the deciding game. So seleCT is glad he did not lose to that sort of proxy robotics facility play. Again, we see the first Zealot coming out after the cybernetic score this time. So no delayed cybernetic score like we saw in the Lost Temple game. The probe did see and scout seleCT's base. It looks like we have that first Marine just pushing that probe out, and may take this opening Xel'Naga tower in the center here. This SCV is just scouting around. Finally the Zealot comes out and is going to be able to push this SCV out. seleCT is going to be able to micro this SCV all around away from this Zealot. So he's going to possibly see what other production building Liquid Tyler is going to throw down here. Looks like we have both Warp Gate Tech and this first sentry being chronoed out. A second barracks coming up for seleCT, so the same opening he's been doing most of these games. 2 barracks, one with a tech lab with concussive shell researched immediately, and an early Reaper, and then a second barracks with this reactor up. We now have this SCV at the tower, and this Marine going around checking for any sort of cheese. Looks like he's checking in all the usual spots. Can throw up a proxy Stargate in this spot, and float some Void Rays down, take out the enemy income and economy there. So checking all around. Looks like Liquid Tyler is putting pylons at each point of his base. He's going to be able to see if a Reaper pops up. We'll see if he spreads out any sort of sentries or stalkers here to defend against this Reaper. Looks like seleCT is opting for an early command center here, so it's maybe a little bit easier to defend as Terran with these bunkers. Liquid NonY going for a lot of stalkers or a lot of sentries and zealots here, and throws out a Stargate. So he's going back to his roots, going back to the Phoenix play here. This is something we saw in the beta quite a bit from NonY. He actually made it a little bit famous with a ton of Phoenix, picking up, doing tons of harass on workers, and even using them to engage in any sort of battle as well. Looks like this pylon may go down from this Reaper. He did get it down. He's going to be able to focus down the Zealot from the high ground, finally take out this pylon. So first small blow goes to seleCT there. He's going to sidecap Liquid Tyler if he does not have any more pylons coming up. Looks like we do have Warp Gate Tech working off of 2 Warp Gates. Have the command center finished for seleCT, and he's going to opt for a orbital command rather than a planetary fortress here. So interesting move. He's going to have a ton of mules Hopefully if he gets up another few barracks, he's going to be able to put those mules to work and pump out a lot of Marines Marauders. See a lot of players in this map use a planetary fortress here. Again, it's quite difficult to defend as you have multiple points of attack against this natural. Looks like we see Liquid Tyler moving out. He does have a few Phoenix here. They are going to scout, see this bunker, pick up a worker here. Phoenix are going to 3-shot this worker, doing 10 damage times 2 to light. So 3 shots against that 45 health SCV. Now 3 Phoenix, and just Liquid Tyler pushing out more Phoenix. He does have this Zealot and Sentry army. Phoenix just going to do more damage. If they could pick up this mule, it would be a lot of damage. Again, they're going to 3-shot this mule. Now we see an engineering bay as a counter to these Phoenix. We may see some turrets from seleCT in both the natural and the main. The army of seleCT being pulled every which way. Down goes that mule, so seleCT is going to lose about 300 minerals from that mule as it does go down. NonY is going to establish his own natural here. So both players just playing kind of a macro game. NonY is using these Phoenix to do as much harassment as he can. If we look at the unit count of lost, it looks like seleCT has lost 7 units, 400 total resources. NonY's just lost the 200. And now seleCT says, you know what, you can harass me, you can ping at me a little bit with those Phoenix, but I'm going to move out with this strong force, and I'm going to see what you have. So he is going to move out with these Marines and these Marauders. Some decent force fields, but not great. He does need to pull back, so he's not taking fire from the Marines and Marauders here. Again, those force fields are only good if you can keep the units in the back from not attacking. So we see him pull back. He's going to be forced to... Oh, he's not going to be able to cancel that Nexus. The Nexus did finish. It's going to be taken out here. Liquid Tyler is going to have to pull back with these Phoenix and perhaps force field a few times here as he builds up a force that can take on this Marine Marauder ball. seleCT just using raw power there. Not going to get cute with those like Phoenix that Liquid Tyler has been using. Any sort of income harass, he's just going to be able to take advantage of having 2 bases now, despite the Phoenix harass by NonY. Not really sure why he didn't test that ramp. He might have seen that force field and known that NonY could have thrown up a lot of force fields. NonY now just working off this 1 base here. I'm not sure he's going to be able to support this Stargate as well as these gateways, though he only does have these 2 gateways, so his army is going to be much smaller than seleCT's, as seleCT is now getting up, he has 3 barracks and he's getting up this factory, so we'll soon transition into a Stargate here. Bunkers are going to fend these Phoenix off, so no more harass is going to be able to be happening. We do have a missile turret in each of these mineral lines. It looks like just the main has a missile turret, and then he's going to rely on these Marines here to ward off these Phoenix. So NonY's trying to do this Phoenix play here, but it's not quite working versus the Terran. Terran are very powerful with the Marines and also with the missile turrets. He's going to pick up a Marine here, take it out. 2 Marines go down. So trying to be a little bit annoying here, taking out these units, but seleCT's just off these 2 bases here, going to have such a macro advantage. In comes the Phoenix, going to see this missile turret. This 1 Phoenix may go down here. No, it's not. Looks like it's going to be attacking the starport as he does the transfer onto the reactor. So now we see seleCT moving out again. Not much of an army here for Liquid Tyler. He doesn't yet have the 2nd Nexus up. We see a lot of force fields go down. Didn't chop the army up at all here, so seleCT's just going to come down. He's going to say, if you give me that Nexus, I'm going to take it. And Liquid Tyler's going to be forced to cancel that. Throws it down a pylon there so he can warp in more units. We're going to see the Phoenix engage with the Zealots, the Sentries, and the Stalkers. Phoenix need to pick up some of these Marines or these Marauders as the gateway units focus down the Marines. Phoenix just not doing much here. They do have energy to pick up, and they need to do that. If you're going to bring the Phoenix in for the attack or to help defend, you're going to have to pick up a ton of these units and just try to delay the firepower and split it in half from seleCT. seleCT is coming in with medevacs and another small force of Marines Marauders here. Medevacs are going to try to be focused down by the Stalker, but just not enough units from NonY, and he's going to have to GG in a relatively quick Game 7 here. seleCT was able to establish that base. Even though it's a risky base, he was able to get up a number of bunkers and fend off any sort of ground attack. And then the Phoenix play from NonY, something he's comfortable with, maybe not the best strategy versus the Terran here, though he did finally go back to something he's more comfortable with rather than the proxy robotics, which he did in Game 6. And you got to hand it to both these players. A great series here. seleCT came in down 2-1 and was able to win 3 of the next 4, force this Game 7, and finally win the series, and he will move on to face Kiwikaki. He's now moved through Slush, through QXC, through In Control, etc. A bunch of people in this losers bracket. LG Gamer, etc. I don't think he actually played In Control. I may be mistaken about that. But now we'll move on to Liquid Tyler is going to be sent home. seleCT will move on to Kiwikaki in the losers bracket. Talking a little too fast for my own good here. Hope you enjoyed the 7-game series. It's quite enjoyable to cast, and hope you'll join me for the next series that I cast from this MLG DC tournament. Thanks for watching.